What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at what is known as probably the meta of the touring class at the moment. Even over all of the 70 plus vehicles in the touring car category, I would by far say this one's probably going to be the most used one. The Saleen S7R, guys, is honestly going to be incredible. So not only does this vehicle handle insanely well after the Season 8 Episode 1 handling update, it's also going to be one of the fastest touring cars in the entire game as well. So having something that not only has an insanely high top speed but also can corner insanely well is definitely going to have a recipe for one of the best cars in that said class. Though I would probably say this for some of the Bugattis in the hypercar category. That can also be going with some of the cars in the Alpha GP class. Like if you have a higher top speed, but if you also throw in that good cornering, it's going to be hard to pick other vehicles. That's also going to be why I basically only see the S7 Saleen now basically everywhere. I can't really get mad at this though, because this car really is going to be insane. Hitting 270 miles per hour is going to make it easily one of the fastest touring cars in this game. I did notice most of them tend to do like 252 to like 255 or something. Then you also have some of the odd ones like the Renault and or like the Lamborghini Gallardo that can also hit around like 260, but this car is still going to do 10 miles per hour faster than those. And if you guys actually compete in some of the events like the bigger US Speed Tour races, that extra 10 miles per hour is going to be insanely useful, especially on the highways. I was noticing with the S7, guys, this car pulls insanely well in every single gear. It doesn't struggle at all when it accelerates, which is kind of shocking. Some cars do tend to struggle with their acceleration when they have a higher top speed. For example, some of the Bugattis do tend to be a tad slower on the low end, and then of course once you get faster they do tend to be a bit better on the top end, like above 250, compared to something like a Porsche Carrera GT in the hypercar class, which does tend to struggle at the topper end type of speed as well. So having a vehicle that can not only accelerate pretty dang fast but also hit that higher top speed faster as well is by far going to be a heavily picked car, because it will be hard to pick other vehicles. For example, guys, the Saleen S7 hits 270 with legitimately no issues at all. I was noticing with a nitrochemist set, no matter where you are with this vehicle, this thing can do well over 265 every single time. It's honestly kind of insane how fast the Saleen actually is. I do feel like this car was also the same exact overall speed it was before, but many players were most likely not picking it because the handling wasn't that great, which in a lot of ways I would say I'm not really all that surprised about, considering many vehicles that do tend to have great cornering normally have some type of nerf to their overall speed and or top speed as well. I would probably say this has something to do with balancing to make that car kind of fair, but if you do have a car like the Saleen that can hit 270, this thing can also corner and it has great acceleration, really is going to make this car like the meta of the touring car category. Which of course, whenever you actually hear the word meta, you're most likely thinking that some of these cars can get nerfed in the future. We have seen this with some of the vehicles like the 300 Super Sport, but to be honest, guys, I would probably say the Saleen S7R is not going to be nerfed, mainly because all of the vehicles in the touring car class are actually going to be good now, so you can easily pick other vehicles in this class and still compete with the Saleen. For me though, for example, guys, on the summits, I would probably pick the Acura NSX GT3 over the S7R, which I would probably say is going to spark some interesting opinions, but I really do think both cars are going to be insanely good in their own way. I actually like the way the Acura handles around corners a lot more than the Saleen does. I feel like that car does have a lot more agility, plus it's also pretty dang fast as well. Of course, the S7R is going to have a lot more top-end power than the Acura, but even with the NSX still having a lower top speed hitting around 257, I would still pick that car over the Saleen, especially on the racetracks though, mainly because, guys, you're most likely not going to hit 270 on most of the racetracks, and I would probably say it's most likely going to come down to the cornering. Which, don't get me wrong, the Saleen S7R is going to be an absolute monster, especially around corners, and if you mix that in with this car's insane acceleration and or top speed, you're going to have one of the best overall cars easily by a mile. A lot of players are most likely going to be like me and they probably never really drove this car. I really do have a feeling that's definitely going to change now, but I would like to know what you guys think about this Saleen in the comments below, and here are my vehicle settings on what is known as the meta of the touring car category.